And I was quite surprised at that. And then a few days later, the Irish are on the streets, shutting down Dublin, blocking traffic. Irish police fight went on for days and days and days. It's now spread a little bit to Northern Ireland. What do you think's going on there? Are they close to civil war?
Well, having consulted my crystal ball about 9 months ago, I've got David Betts beat, because I said in a video about 8 or 9 months, when it kicks off, it'll kick off in Ireland first. The Irish are a very, very closely knit community island. It's a small island, north and south, but it's a small island. There's a lot of people there. They all know each other. Most of them are related to each other. There's only 6 families, effectively. And everybody knows everyone else. It is, how can we say, it's a monoculture, especially in the south. It is Catholic Ireland, family-oriented, and they've got an awful lot of weapons hidden in boxes, buried in fields. They're very close to each other. They don't muck about. The Irish, they're not known for holding back on their feelings, and they've got a good history of rebellion. And it's just one of those things. If you're going to pick a place to start the civil war in Europe over mass immigration and net zero as well, it's both of them, it's going to be Ireland, and it always was going to be. And they've just had enough. The Irish are angry, and there's nothing more frightening than an angry Irishman, because the buggers will come and get you. They will. They're not going to hand back. And you've got to remember that Ireland doesn't really have an army. They talk about, we'll put the army on the streets. Ireland has got barely an army. There is no real force. And this is why the politicians now are shitting themselves. They blinked. The Taoiseach, he blinked. He said, £500 million, €500 million, or whatever it was, in fuel money. We'll sort this out. And it wasn't anywhere near enough. This government of Ireland is now finished. It's a coalition, a rainbow coalition, but it's finished. The problem of Ireland is they haven't got the Irish equivalent of reform. And if they did, there might be a change politically.
If we split Ireland into two, Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, so let's talk about the Republic of Ireland. At that same conference David Betts was at, there was an Irish academic researcher, Owen something, I forgot his last name now, and he disagreed. He said he doesn't think it will be Ireland for these reasons. He said, first of all, Ireland is the most left-wing country in Europe, meaning the people. We consistently vote left. We don't have any right-wing parties because no one votes for them, so therefore it's just different sections of the left. Ireland also has a habit of, when they reach hard times, they have mass people leaving the country. The people are flooded to the UK, to America, Australia, New Zealand, and that gets rid of young people and removes those traits who may cause revolution, cause problems. He doesn't think it'll be Ireland. He reckons Ireland's in a bad way, and he reckons the fire could catch in Ireland, but the fire would have to start somewhere else first. But if we're talking about Northern Ireland, I think Northern Ireland is top of my list of where any European civil war could start, because they've got a recent history of violence, of urban violence, of conflict with neighbours, conflict with government. As you said, they've all got buried caches of arms in fields that they all know where they are. And they've also got that legacy of the Troubles. So you can imagine being brought up as a young man, sat on your granddad's knee, being told stories of the Troubles, how your great-granddad was a hero, how your family fought for the freedom of Ireland or the Union or whatever the stories are. You've been raised with your near ancestors being heroes and being freedom fighters. That is still within the youth of Northern Ireland.
I grew up through it, Nick. I was born in Belfast in 67. And then you had Bloody Sunday in 71. It was there. This is why my folks got me out of Ireland. But I grew up knowing all this. This was me. This is my heartland. And so, yeah, I know people who went right through the middle of that. Some of them are still quite dangerous people. And they won't put up with shit.
I was speaking to someone from Northern Ireland's end of last year on YouTube, and he was telling me in certain parts of Northern Ireland, they've been drawing graffitiing eyes, a pair of eyes, meaning we're watching you. And independent landlords have been sent letters saying, if you rent out your properties to migrants, we're going to burn it down.
Burn it down. They are. We saw it. Where did we? Oh God, blimey! I can't believe we talked about this a few months ago, wasn't it? One of the little towns. And there was the
Ballymena.
girl was raped. Yeah, Ballymena, that was it. And the girl was raped. And there was a lot of anger in that town. And some people had to run away. A lot of the immigrants in that town left, even though we were innocent. They left because they were chased out of Dodge.
Yeah. So the Southern Ireland protests have caught on a little bit in Northern Ireland. Northern Irish farmers have been out blocking roads and stuff like that. But if we move back to Southern Ireland, they closed down Dublin. It was so much bigger than I thought it was going to be. I had a conversation that morning, not knowing how many people were going to turn up, and the conversation was, is this going to be big or not? Is it going to? And then suddenly it went on for days and days and days.
Yeah, and nothing was getting. The thing is, though, they did the right thing because power is vested in Dublin, all the Parliament and that. And so where they closed off, they didn't close off all of Dublin. No. They closed off the bit of Dublin where the politicians live, where the politicians work. They couldn't get in and out. And they know where the politicians live, and they were closing off roads across that because they were targeting those who had caused the problems. Because the problem isn't the immigrant. The problem is the politician who's letting the immigrant in. And you've got to turn it off at the tap. You take out the politicians who caused the problem. I'm going to say take off. I don't mean kill them. I mean, you take them out. Yeah, you take them out of office. You take them out of their comfort zone. You make them want to never do this decision again. And so, yeah, if you target those in power, then those in power will probably get the police involved. But then you say, oh, well, we know where the chief of police lives. Let's do him. And you know where the sergeants live and the inspectors live. And you target the police. And you make life uncomfortable for everyone in the establishment. Until eventually they realise they're on the wrong side, because there's a lot more of us than them. We will win. We are many, they are few. We will win.
So it's April at the moment. April's wet. It's not that warm. Today's a bit warm, but normally it's not that warm. We've already got protests now in April. We've got 6-8 months before the weather changes. This is the beginning of the protest season.
The hot summer.
I think we're in for a spring and summer we've never seen before in our lifetime, of protests, of normal people protesting, not the communists, not the pro-Palestinians. I'm talking about normal people who have never been on protest before, finally going on protest all spring and summer across the UK.
There's the big one coming up in a month away, 16th, 17th of May in London. I think it's starting Westminster Bridge, I believe. There aren't enough police to police this. Last time they said, there was 100,000 people. Was there? Bugger, there was 2 million people. You could see them down street after street after street, but the police didn't want to admit that there was 2 million people. But yeah, it could be as big again. And the police go, there's only... Well, let me tell you, 2 million people, there's not 2 million police. They'll try their best, but ultimately, people, all they need to do is just spread, and spread the police thin, and there's nothing the police can do.
Yeah, and I think that on May, the Tommy Robinson March in London, is going to be bigger than last time, because I met so many people who didn't know about it, saw it on TV, and went, if I'd have known about it, I'd have gone, and those people now know about it. I think it'll be so much bigger now.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm rather unwell at the moment. Hopefully, I will be well enough, and if I am well enough, I will certainly be wandering down into London. That's not FA Cup final day, is it?